George Walker Bush, born on July 6, 1946, in New Haven, Connecticut, is an American politician and businessman who served as the 43rd President of the United States from 2001 to 2009. He is the son of George H.W. Bush, the 41st President of the United States, and Barbara Bush. His presidency was marked by major domestic and international events, notably the September 11th attacks, the subsequent War on Terror, and significant economic challenges, including the Great Recession. George W. Bush grew up in a political family. His father, George H.W. Bush, was a prominent figure in American politics, serving as vice president under Ronald Reagan before becoming president in 1989. George W. attended Phillips Academy, a prestigious prep school in Andover, Massachusetts, before going on to Yale University, where he earned a degree in history in 1968. After graduation, he served as a pilot in the Texas Air National Guard during the Vietnam War, although his service was the subject of some controversy. Following his military service, Bush attended Harvard Business School, where he received an MBA in 1975, becoming one of the few U.S. presidents to hold an advanced business degree. Afterward, he worked in the oil industry before entering the world of sports ownership. Bush's early business career was marked by a string of moderate successes and failures. He worked for his father's oil company, but after several business ventures in the 1970s and 1980s, he co-founded the Texas Rangers baseball team in 1989. His involvement in the Rangers proved highly profitable and raised his public profile, providing a platform for his later political career. Bush's first major foray into politics was in 1994, when he ran for governor of Texas. He won the race, defeating incumbent Ann Richards. As governor, Bush promoted tax cuts, welfare reform, and education reform. He was re-elected in 1998 by a wide margin, and his tenure as governor positioned him as a rising star in the Republican Party. In 2000, Bush announced his candidacy for president. He won the Republican nomination after a fierce contest with Senator John McCain, emerging as the candidate most aligned with the party's conservative base. The 2000 presidential election was one of the closest and most controversial in American history, with a disputed result in Florida leading to a Supreme Court decision that ultimately awarded Bush the presidency over Democratic nominee Al Gore. Bush was inaugurated as president on January 20, 2001, but his first term was quickly overshadowed by the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks. Al-Qaeda, a terrorist group led by Osama bin Laden, carried out coordinated attacks on U.S. soil, killing nearly 3,000 people. The attacks profoundly altered the course of Bush's presidency and the nation's history. In response to the September 11 attacks, Bush launched the War on Terror, which included military operations in Afghanistan aimed at dismantling the Taliban regime and eliminating al-Qaeda. The U.S. military, along with international allies, successfully ousted the Taliban from power, but the conflict in Afghanistan continued for years, with ongoing military engagement and reconstruction efforts. Perhaps the most contentious aspect of Bush's presidency was the 2003 invasion of Iraq. Bush, citing concerns over Saddam Hussein's weapons of mass destruction, WMDs, and his alleged ties to terrorism, led a coalition of forces to remove the Iraqi dictator from power. Despite initial military successes, the aftermath of the invasion led to significant instability, sectarian violence, and a prolonged insurgency. The absence of WMDs in Iraq became a major point of criticism for the Bush administration, and the war was widely debated both domestically and internationally. On the domestic front, Bush implemented significant tax cuts which were intended to stimulate the economy and benefit the wealthy. His administration also worked on education reform through the No Child Left Behind Act, which aimed to improve public schools through standardized testing and accountability measures. The Medicare Prescription Drug Improvement and Modernization Act of 2003 expanded prescription drug coverage for seniors. However, Bush's second term faced significant challenges. The Iraq War remained contentious, and his administration's handling of Hurricane Katrina in 2005, which devastated New Orleans and the Gulf Coast, was widely criticized for its slow and inadequate response. In 2008, the global financial crisis shook the world economy, and the US was hit particularly hard. The collapse of major financial institutions and the housing bubble burst led to widespread economic turmoil, including rising unemployment and a severe recession. Bush and Congress passed a controversial $700 billion bailout package to stabilize the financial sector. The economic downturn severely affected Bush's popularity and left a lasting impact on the country's political landscape. After leaving office in 2009, George W. Bush retreated from the political spotlight, although he remained an influential figure in the Republican Party. He focused on humanitarian efforts, particularly through the George W. Bush Presidential Center, which includes a library, museum, and policy institute in Dallas, Texas. The Bush Institute focuses on global health initiatives, education reform, and the promotion of democracy. Bush also became a painter, taking up the hobby after leaving office. His artwork has been displayed in exhibitions, and he has published a book of portraits of military veterans, titled Portraits of Courage. George W. Bush's presidency remains a subject of significant debate. Supporters highlight his leadership after 9/11, his commitment to fighting terrorism, and his efforts to promote democracy abroad. Critics point to the controversial Iraq War, the handling of the financial crisis, and his administration's perceived failures in responding to domestic challenges. Bush's presidency marked a pivotal period in American history, defined by international conflict, national security concerns, and profound economic challenges. His legacy, like that of many U.S. presidents, continues to evolve as new perspectives on his time in office emerge.